Jason, you brought up CBDCs. Do you have any comments on gold versus Bitcoin? I know that's a big kind of debate that's raging out there. A lot of people are calling Bitcoin digital gold. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, I have lots of friends in the cryptocurrency industry, and I think that the kind of vision or mission or the issues that cryptocurrency advocates have is very similar to what's driving me with Glint. I am a bit sick of people calling Bitcoin Gold 2.0 and things like that. I mean, I was at a conference recently. There was a guy talking from a cryptocurrency exchange. He did this thing where he tried to compare cryptocurrency with gold. And he said the problem with gold is that you can't buy small amounts of it very easily, and you really can't easily transport it from one person to another, and you certainly can't spend it. So that was like a gift to me, because I stood up afterwards and said, hey, dude, I can buy gold for 4 decimals of a gram on the Glint platform. I can send it to anybody as easy as sending a text, certainly outside of the US. And I can spend it anywhere in the world where MasterCard's accepted. In fact, I paid for my flight here, my hotel, I paid for my taxi here, and I'll be paying for my coffee using with gold in the banks. First of all, understand that technology can be used to create all the liquidity and the integration with the existing financial system for gold. Gold can participate alongside any other form of money that we have in this world. One of the benefits that people talk about cryptocurrencies is its decentralized nature is wonderful, because it gives people anonymity and it gives people independence from their central banks, etc. Well, I kind of think there's a bit of a challenge on that one. I mean, we've all seen how the CIA, the FBI, the authorities are able to track down, seems quite easily, some of the money that's been stolen, defrauded from people across the blockchains. In fact, it's very transparency goes against the idea that somehow you have anonymity. And of course, a lot of people buy their cryptocurrencies on exchanges. They don't go to the trouble of becoming technically clued up on how to set up your own wallet, your cold storage, etc. And so they buy it off exchanges. That creates that centralization, therefore, exists, which gives complete control of the governments over it. Because as we've seen now, and which I've been expecting for some time, we're now at the beginning of quite a big clampdown from a regulatory perspective on the cryptocurrency exchanges, etc. I also look at the concentration of cryptocurrencies in the hands of a few. I think it might be that something like a very low number, like 2% of the wallets in blockchain, in Bitcoin, for instance, are 95%. So in a way, we're replacing old oligarchs in the old system with new oligarchs. Yes, I mean, there are concentrations of gold in the existing system. And of course, central banks being one of the biggest, they hold gold. They don't hold Bitcoin. They hold gold because it's seen as the currency of last resort. Effectively, it is the only solid form of money that they have once all these instruments of debt, we call them fiat currencies, are blown away. But gold is accepted globally around the world, is valued. British fighter pilots have gold coins sewn into the inside of their belts. So if they eject into enemy territory, the inhabitants of where they land are going to accept that gold. You're not going to accept dollars or pounds or whatever. I think the concentration, the decentralization, scalability, cryptocurrencies have their challenges around that, and they're trying to fix those problems. Glint, for instance, runs on a centralized database because we see the value, the store of wealth is centralized. It's in a vault in a specific location. And we do intend on opening up new vaults around the world so people can choose where they want to put some of their hard money, shall we call it. But it is effectively centralized. We might as well have the ledger centralized as well. And because at the end of the day, it has to fix to a centralized store of wealth. Yeah, it means we can scale very quickly. So we scale across the cloud. It's very efficient. It means you don't have the same energy consumption. A lot of these cryptocurrencies require the energy of a small country of 200 million people to be able to run. Also, because of the blockchain technology and that decentralized ledger, it creates to a very expensive resource-driven system, which means that the fees can be very high. I saw recently, wasn't that long ago, at the end of last year, where some NFTs that were gone up for sale were so popular that the fees were costing more than the NFTs. That was on the Ethereum network. I think there's all kinds of interesting things happening in cryptocurrency blockchain developments, whether it's zero knowledge proofs, whether it's whatever it is, with the tech, with trying to reduce the energy, etc. But I think it's going to be a long time before it becomes a viable, reliable store of value. We saw when Russia invaded Ukraine that equities, stocks and shares, they plummeted in value, and so did cryptocurrencies alongside them, which showed that they are what we call risk-on assets, whereas gold went up when that happened, i.e. it's a risk-off asset. Maybe in 100 years' time, cryptocurrency might be considered a reliable, safe asset that doesn't fluctuate crazily. I think ultimately what happened was a bunch of people decided they set it up for all these good reasons. And then as the adoption increased and the price started to go up, people flooded to it as a get-rich-quick scheme. You know, the whole monetary system has created whole generations of people who have kind of given up on the idea they'll ever make some serious money. So they won't ever be able to buy a house. And that's really sad. That monetary system is driving there's such inequality in the world. And of course, it does it because when money's printed, it's distributed through banks, and banks lend money to people who have money. It doesn't lend money to people who need it, who haven't got it. And so those people with money who are able to borrow more and more money, they go out and they buy assets, they buy houses, they buy properties, they just get richer and richer. Meanwhile, everybody else gets poorer and poorer. And we don't have anything like the wealth that our parents and our grandparents had, relatively speaking. And a few own more than everybody else. I think the latest statistic is that three individuals in the United States own more than 50% of the whole population. And that could never have happened if we had a more sound money policy. Money wasn't able to be distributed to the wealthy like that way.